kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently. We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Hold on. Give me just a second. Okay. All right. So let's see who all is in here. And for those of you who missed the previous broadcast about Tasha K and her husband both being sued by Cardi B at this point, or her husband now being sued, make sure you check that out at your leisure. Okay. So hello, Anita Harrell, Buckhorse DC. All right, Cookie is here. Christopher Perkins. Let's get into it. Trees Love, Aqua Rising, Aqua Girl Rising. I'm sorry. Greta Lee is here. All right. So with that all being said, I see you, Buckhorse DC. All right, Juju, 57 Beige Fox. All right, Deronda, Bronze Flag Power God, Cyrus. Okay, let's get into it. Laverne, Vince, I am from the UK. Unique is here. Okay, Roberta on deck. Leon. All right, so shout out to all of my loyal roads and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Herman. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, so let's get this party started. Before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to fix my. I got too much going on here. Okay, my head wrap is caught up in my hair. All right, there we go. Now, with that all being said, let's get into it because um they have some information out now on the supposed White House shooter. And also, and if you all remember, how many of you, please put a one in the chat. Hey, DJ Big Six, please put a one in the chat. If you remember me telling you all about a week or so ago that my good friend, okay, who used to be one of my moderators, basically said to me months ago that what they're going to do, we were talking about my dreams and my dreams about Trump being taken up out of here. Well, he was saying that they would likely have a black man to do it so they can start a race war. And I told you all that. How many of you remember that? How many of you remember me saying that just days ago? I find it all very interesting, okay? Looks like he was right. And here's the thing. You know what me and my friend both think? Because I talked to you all about this too. Remember what I told you all about Aaron Alexis, the naval yard shooter? Okay, and how people have claimed to have heard voices in their head and things like that. Yeah, well, we were also saying that if something like that was done, the person would likely be under some type of MK Ultra mind control, possibly like a Manchurian candidate, or maybe even voice of God technology. Okay, please pay attention. That's right. Christopher said a psyop. That's absolutely what I think. And many other people seem to think the same. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about his history. Now, here's what they report. This is from MSN. Gunman with violent history killed near the White House. So who was the shooter? His name was Nasir Best, and he was 21 years old, and he was from Baltimore, Maryland. They say he had a documented history of mental health issues, prior arrests near the White House, and claims of being Jesus Christ. Now, what's interesting about that is they said that he had prior arrests near the White House. He absolutely did, because I looked that up, or at least that's what they're saying, but I did look all of that up. Okay, so at least 2 other incidents. So the interesting thing is, I don't recall hearing or seeing anything about that in the news previously. Okay, that would seem to be something that one would deem as newsworthy. Wouldn't you think, especially since we know about Trump having previous assassination attempts? But also, here's what I find even more interesting. Do you all remember a few years ago, there was a Black woman who simply made the wrong turn at the White House and she was shot and killed? How many of you remember that? Please put a 1 in the chat. How many of you remember that? I don't remember that lady's name, but you all remember the story? I know that I reported on it. You all remember that? Because what I'm saying is this. The reason I'm mentioning that is because it seems interesting to me that if this man had a history of being at the White House on at least 2 other occasions, and nobody reported it to the media. It wasn't reported that I ever saw. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But also, he didn't get deleted. He didn't get deleted. Hold on. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find this woman's name. They have some stuff coming up about this incident. Hold on. She made like a wrong turn or something. I don't want to be spending too much time looking for this, but let me just see really quickly if I can find it. Because I'm just wondering. Okay, this was on October the 3rd of 2013. Okay, 34-year-old dental hygienist from Connecticut drove to Washington, D.C. with her 13-month-old daughter in the car after she made an unexpected turn at a restricted White House checkpoint. Secret Service agents and Capitol Police pursued her vehicle in a 12-block car chase. Okay, now the encounter ended near the U.S. Capitol where officers fired 26 rounds into her vehicle, striking her 5 times from behind. An investigation later revealed that Carrie was unarmed and that her infant daughter was recovered from the back seat completely unharmed. Her family and attorney later criticized the police response and contested law enforcement accounts regarding the necessity of deadly force. Okay, so with that all being said, this is someone who made an unexpected turn. She didn't come there with malice intentions, malice of forethought on the mind, mens rea, none of that. A guilty mind, that's what that means. She just made an unexpected turn. And when she made that turn, they followed her. Okay, and then shot 26 rounds. So you need to tell me this black man has come there and started mess, okay, and they never did anything to him. I find it all interesting and I don't believe it, but let's continue. Now, I do believe it. Let me say this. I do believe it. But the thing is, I don't believe that he did this of his own mind. I just don't. I think there was some sort of technology being used. And again, I can't substantiate any of this. This is all speculation and merely my own opinions. I'm not trying to pass this off as facts by any stretch of anyone's imagination. Now, with that all being said, listen to this. Goes on to say that Best opened fire at a Secret Service checkpoint, okay, prompting agents to return fire and kill him. A bystander was injured. Trump was unharmed. Now, why does this matter? Well, they say because this incident is the third gunfire-related threat near Trump in a month, raising renewed concerns over presidential security and checkpoint protocols. Now, shortly after 6 p.m. local time, Nasir Best approached a Secret Service checkpoint near 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, pulled a weapon from his bag, and began firing at the officers. So no one saw him when he rolled up and when he was digging in his bag looking for a weapon. Witnesses reported hearing between 20 and 30 shots before agents finally shot him. So he fired 20 or 30 shots, or was that the combination of the shots? I guess that would likely be the combination of the shots back and forth between he and the agents. A bystander was also struck, though it remains unclear whether they were hit by Best bullets or return fire. President Trump was inside the White House but was not impacted, and no Secret Service personnel were injured. Now, Best had multiple prior encounters with Secret Service in 2025. Now, that's interesting because, as I said, someone simply making a wrong turn and having to pull out or whatever, and they followed and pursued that person, fired 26 rounds and killed him, hit him with 5, and they had a child in the car, mind you. But this person, he supposedly had multiple encounters with Secret Service in 2025, including being involuntarily committed for psychiatric evaluation after blocking traffic near the White House and arrested for unlawful entry after bypassing a restricted checkpoint. So he did all of that, much more than the black lady did. Okay, that woman was innocent. She just made a mistake. So court records show that he often claimed to be Jesus Christ or the Son of God and violated a stay-away order from the White House grounds. So they even had a stay-away order? So that means that they thought he was a danger. So they thought he was a danger, but he was never shot by Secret Service. That sounds interesting because the lady actually turned, and when she realized she made the wrong turn, she left and was trying to get out of there. Social media posts attributed to him included threats against President Trump, suggesting a long-standing fixation on the site. Here's the thing. When did they find out about these threatening social media posts? Because if he had multiple attempts of coming there to the point that they had to basically get a stay-away order, they already would have checked his social media posts, wouldn't you think? I mean, that just sounds plausible, right? That they would have already checked the social media posts, not that they would just now be checking them after the fact. So the shooting marks the third incident involving gunfire near President Trump the past month. followed by attempted assassinations in the White House Correspondents' Dinner and a near shooting near the Washington monuments. Lawmakers from both parties condemned the violence and praised law enforcement's swift action. Trump linked the incidents to his calls for a fortified, secure White House, citing national security imperatives. He wants that ballroom. Now, the FBI is assisting the Secret Service in investigating how best a known security risk managed to approach the checkpoint armed. Authorities have not confirmed a political motive or identified the intended target. Here's what's not making sense to me. You all let me know how you feel about it and what you think. But what's not making sense to me is this. Why get an order of a stay away contract or stay away order? Why not have him arrested? They say he was put in a psychiatric institute, right? But he obviously got out because he did it multiple times. Why was he never jailed? Why was he not put in jail? Okay, I just have questions because that just doesn't make sense. And they knew that he was a security risk. They knew that he had posted things on his social media. At least they should have, because like I said, they should have been checked that. Now, the bystander's condition remains uncertain, and officials are reviewing whether prior interventions could have prevented the attack, highlighting potential gaps in monitoring individuals with documented threats and mental health issues. Does this even make sense? Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this? They're saying they're trying to now figure out and review everything to see if there were prior interventions that could have prevented the attack. Well, with all the multiple accounts that they said that he'd been there before and getting a stay away order and all of that, I would think that absolutely they would have secured the grounds even more so and had even more people on duty and definitely had him locked up. And I'm talking about jail. Okay? And the highly potential gaps in monitoring individuals with documented threats and mental health issues. Yeah, something shady is about this. I'm going to tell you all what I think. I'm going to tell you all what I think. I think that my dream that I had about Trump didn't have anything to do with these false attempts. And I say false because I don't believe any of them were real. I think it was on stage. I just don't believe them. What I do think is that my dream was accurate and that there is going to be something that likely happens to Trump. This is my dream. And at the end of the day, I think that they really feel like they don't need Trump anymore and don't want Trump anymore. Trump's done enough dirt for them. I think now they're ready to go ahead and move JD Vance in. I think that they're ready to go ahead and sidestep Trump and have JD Vance go ahead and take over. Now, that's what I think. I don't think they want 3 more years of Trump. I don't think they feel like they need it. Okay, I think that some of these attempts that we've all witnessed were psyops. That's what I think, and I think that the real one is coming. Okay, and I'm not going to say who I think it's going to be, but I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be somebody that a lot of people would probably expect. Okay, but of course, that's not likely going to come out ever. All right. So with that all being said, I just think it's something shady going on here. I think that JD Vance is going to be put in where they want him to be. That's just what I think. Okay. That's just what I think. I think that they really feel like they don't need him at this point. So anyway, this is all crazy in my opinion. Now, with that being said, lights up everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you to Vance. Now, and speaking of JD Vance, let's talk about it. Because supposedly JD Vance is also a thorn in Trump's side, allegedly. And here's the thing. JD Vance, in my opinion, as I've stated before, I absolutely think that he'll be worse than Trump because I think he's a whole hell of a lot smarter. Okay? He has the good use of all of his cognitive abilities. Okay, doesn't have any sort of dementia, and I'm not saying that Trump does. I'm just saying that I think Trump does. Okay, is suffering from some form of dementia and other health issues as well.
This next story is not getting the attention it deserves. JD Vance is becoming a problem for Donald Trump. JD Vance is becoming an irritant, like that mosquito that you're trying to slap and blow up, but it won't leave you alone. It's buzzing around endlessly. And what's happening is that Donald Trump and JD Vance are increasingly at odds over something that Donald Trump said. And it is quickly building into a real problem for both of them. Now, let me set the stage. Sometimes I'm never like, do I go chronologically, or I'm going to go chronologically here. This started a few days ago. Donald Trump was asked, what about how the Iran war is hurting Americans financially? And Trump said, I don't think about that. I don't consider that. Here is that initial video of Donald Trump saying this.
What extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. It's the only thing that lets Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, so that's Trump's initial answer there. So they went to J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance said, that's a misrepresentation of what Trump said. The initial thing is Trump says it, and J.D. goes, it's the media's problem. You all are misrepresenting it.
And can I ask you, Mr. Vice President, when approaching the war with Iran, do you agree with the president's position that Americans' financial situations should not be a consideration in that decision-making process?
Well, I don't think the president said that. I think that's a misrepresentation of what the president said. But look, I agree with the president that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We're obviously...
All right, it's a misrepresentation. So this created the opportunity to go back to Donald Trump. And then when they went back to Trump, Brett Baer did, Trump ended up saying it was an absolutely perfect statement. He doubles down on it. And he goes, go back to Trump, and Trump doubles down. So then Caitlin Collins goes back to J.D. Vance and goes, listen, Trump said this thing. You denied he said it. They went back to Trump. Trump doubled down and said, I absolutely said it. What is J.D.? All right, this next story is not getting the attention it deserves. J.D. Vance.
Okay. 57 base box says Orange Man's usefulness is over, Queen. I absolutely think it is. I think that's what they feel. I think that's absolutely what they feel, beloved. Now, let's talk about this new budget bill, okay, that has passed. It's passed, and all they need now is for Trump to go ahead and sign it into law. President Trump's defining budget and tax legislation is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a massive statute signed into law on July the 4th of 2025. Now, hold on, this is not what I'm looking for. Hold on, beloveds. Let's see here. Okay, so basically, here's what it says. They're supposed to have Medicaid cuts, okay? Affordable health care subsidies. Those are going to be gone. It's going to be heavy restrictions. SNAP. All of these things are going to be affected. So let's look at it like this: Affordable Care, the Affordable Care Act, the SNAP program, and Medicaid cuts. All of these things. And I want you all to pay attention, because this is just a darn shame. But at the end of the day, Trump has no problem trying to give money to thugs who rioted at the Capitol. Okay? Who rioted at the Capitol where people lost their lives. Please pay attention. It's all crazy. We'll get more to that in a second, because I'm going to go to what some people on TikTok had to say about it. But here's the thing. Trump has had the Fed subpoena some anti-war social media influencers. It says Fed subpoena Hassan Piker and Ahmadiyyah Benjamin over Cuba trips. Hold on. Let me get this pop-up out of here. Now listen to this. They say federal officials have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hassan Piker Piker and Code Pink co-founder Susan Medea Benjamin as part of a wider investigation into whether U.S. organizations and leaders violated U.S. laws and sanctions in supporting Cuba's communist regime, okay, and being anti-war. Now, with that all being said, Hiker and Benjamin are among those caught in a federal inquiry into whether activists who traveled to Cuba in March violated U.S. sanctions laws through the financing, coordination, or delivery of goods to Cuba, including potential contacts with Cuban government personnel or entities on the island. The administrative subpoenas were sent to the pair by the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. So he just really doesn't want anyone helping Cuba from the sounds of it. Now, goes on to say the administrative subpoenas called requests for information, or RFI, seek financial, logistical, and communications information revolving around trips the two widely bragged about making to the island. They bragged about making these trips to the island nation in March with delegations of the Nuestra America Convoy, or Our America Convoy, okay, from a global network of communist sympathizers, activists, and influencers who brought supplies to the country's ruling Communist Party of Cuba. This is according to sources familiar with the situation. Now, they say the investigation is part of a broader effort by officials at Treasury, State, and Justice departments to curb malign foreign influence operations inside the United States, particularly activities tied to support for political violence, extremist movements, or acts that the U.S. government classifies as terrorism. Now, the scrutiny reflects growing concern among federal authorities and lawmakers over whether foreign actors and aligned organizations are attempting to shape American political discourse, mobilize activists, sow discord, and normalize rhetoric that could encourage violence or undermine U.S. national security and U.S. security interests. So the U.S. law imposes broad restrictions on financial transactions involving Cuba, primarily through the Cuban Asset Control Regulations administered by the Office of Foreign Assets Control. Those rules generally prohibit unlicensed travel-related transactions and the export of goods or services to Cuba, with limited exceptions for journalism, humanitarian projects, educational programs, and certain activities meant to support the Cuban people. This is all getting real serious. It's all getting real serious. Now, I find it interesting also because BiBi Satan Yahoo posted this. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. Okay. Metro Man says, do you know if it wasn't for Cuban doctor Susan would have died? They saved her from malaria. She has always gone to Cuba for years. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea, beloved. Thanks for asking, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. I don't know exactly what it was. I have to dig further into it. But what I do know is it sounds to me like they were going over there to try to help out these people. That's what it sounds like to me. But clearly Trump's not having it. Now I'm going to share my screen so you all can see Satan Yahoo's post. This is all so crazy. If you ask me, the United States is starting to look like that we're on the same level of nefariousness as BiBi and them. Okay? That's what it's given for me. Now, here's what he posted. This is from Satan Yahoo himself. Look at the picture. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Question is, who's he to say that? Who's he to say that? Now, I could see if Trump were saying it, but who is he to say that? It's like he doesn't have to worry about what Trump thinks or says. It's like he's making all the rules. Okay, please pay attention. Now I'm going to go to this video, and this is Colonel McGregor, Douglas McGregor on here. And this conversation is talking about the U.S. and Iran deal could be It's Not Real's nightmare. And you see, that's what I've been telling you all, that I don't think that Satan Yahoo wants a deal. I don't think he does. I think he wants this thing to keep going and going and going because he already knows what's up the pike, what's down the pike for him, okay? And as long as he's involved in a war, he can just keep having that postponed. Let me get my overlay.
In a conversation I had this morning, someone who watches this carefully told me about a Turkish announcement that essentially talks about blue areas that the Ottomans controlled, that the Turks feel are effectively their territory in any case. And that includes parts of Syria and Iraq, as well as Lebanon. I think what we're going to witness in the near future is a growing Turkish interest in exploiting what happens in Israel for its own benefit. So the Israelis have effectively strengthened a potential opponent. And I think that's why Naftali Bennett mentioned that specifically when he said, you know, once Iran is through, or we've finished with Iran, we're going to have to deal with Turkey. The Turks are our serious enemies. Well, I think he's right, but I don't think he's going to have the benefit of defeating Iran. Instead, what they're looking at right now is, how do we keep this war going? If the United States can't win it for us, well, we have to stoke it. We have to keep the fire from dying out. Because if the United States decides to disengage, what makes anybody think that the United States will come back and open a new front against the Turks? It seems very unlikely. And if you haven't defeated Iran, what would prevent Iran from supporting the Turks against us and Israel? And we haven't even talked about Egypt. Egypt is sort of a bubbling cauldron ready to explode. And I don't know if General Sisi has really got control over there or not. There are a lot of people in Egypt that are angry that nothing has happened to Israel. They feel that they've stood by and watched helplessly as millions of Palestinian Arabs, whether you like them or not, doesn't make any difference to the Egyptians, have been murdered. And they're asking, why have we done nothing? We are the greatest or the largest Arab state in the Middle East. We have a role to play. What are we doing? So I think there are a lot of other things happening right now. And based upon everything I've said, I think the pressure on Donald Trump to resume the war, to restart it, to once again begin the process of trying to destroy what is left of Iran and the state and its society is overwhelming. So I don't see how he can back off. It doesn't make any difference what the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia or anybody else tells him. It's the understanding that if he doesn't go forward and he disengages, Israel may very well go out of existence.
Doug, you raised so many of the complexities that are involved here that they never stop. Wherever you look, there's a new complexity, a new player involved. It's ubiquitous. Let me play something for you from Trita Parsi, who was recently on, and he takes even another angle. I'd like you to just comment on what his take on what the situation is at this moment in time.
When you put all of this together, I think the picture that really emerges is there is no escalatory option for Trump that turns the tables on this and puts the U.S. in a position in which it can dictate terms. Operation Freedom, as you mentioned, lasted 24 hours. Apparently, that was enough freedom for the region. The blockade of the blockade, again, it's still in place, but Iran should have collapsed, 2.5 weeks ago, according to the calculations. Clearly not the case. The Iranians are under the impression, right or wrong, that Trump is not terribly sensitive to U.S. interests being pushed back, but he's very sensitive to his business interests and his business empire's interests being set back. And as a result, next time in the next war, don't just go after things that actually would be very bad for the U.S. Go after things that would be very bad for Trump and his family.
So, Doug, in tandem with his business interests would line up with what Israel wants him to do, protecting his pocketbook as he goes ahead with more strikes.
Oh, I think that's very true. The problem I have with Trita Parsi is that he's imputing a rational calculus to Trump. I just don't see it. If there were a rational calculus in play, let's be frank, we would never have attacked Iran. No one in their right mind would have done so for all the reasons that we're seeing right now. So emotion triumphed over reason. That's why we're in this war. And Donald Trump has said something that I think is important. He points out that, well, Americans are going to go along with me no matter what I do. Well, I don't think he can say that anymore, but I think he can certainly bet on a certain amount of complacency or disinterest inside the United States, at least until the pain becomes so acute that Americans can't stand it. We're headed that way. If you look at the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, it's being drained very, very quickly. This is, of course, in order to stave off any sort of energy crisis that might hit us. But come July, mid-July, latest 1st August, we may be in a lot of trouble with regard to that Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Remember, we've not built any new refineries in more than 20 years.
I'm going to stop it right there. But didn't I also tell you all days ago that they have projected that by July, we also will be out of gas? Okay, so none of this is good. Not for us. It may be good for Satan Yahoo, but it definitely isn't good for us. Now, I was laughing because I saw Ashgan said one last Big Mac. Y'all are terrible. But speaking of that, let's go back to this other article where they spoke about the shooter. Okay, hold on. I just want to point out a couple of things in here. Barely 2 weeks later, on July the 10th, Best was detained again for walking into a restricted area. So he did one incident, and then 2 weeks later, he was right back at it, right? That all sounds suspicious, and they didn't do anything. But also, they claim that he also said he was the real Osama bin Laden. Then Laura Loomer posted saying the shooter at the White House today identified as a black male named Nasir Best made previous threats of assassinating President Trump on his TikTok. So here's the post that he supposedly made December the 9th of 2025. Let me share my screen. And you mean to tell me nothing happened to him, but that lady who accidentally made the wrong turn is now dead? 5 shots, 26 fired. Here's the post right here. Picture of Trump from the first attempt, and it says, man, cuh ain't even, now I want you all to pay attention to how they have it, how this is written. Man, cuh ain't even have no aim. If it was me behind the gun, it would have been a totally different story. That rainbow, I don't know, that rainbow bag got lucky. Now I want you all to think about this. First of all, if that was posted on social media, why wasn't he arrested? Because they absolutely lock people up for their social media posts. I've heard people be locked up for saying less than that. Let's not forget the guy who said something about Charlie Kirk. And all he simply said was basically, let's get past it. Like they said about the school shooting. And he was arrested. So you mean to tell me this guy posted this on his TikTok? First of all, TikTok didn't remove it. They didn't remove it for number one, because that's clearly a threat. All right? It sounds like a threat, at least by their standard of threats, as we've seen. And so that stayed up and he didn't get arrested. And they didn't try to get any more serious security measures, specifically because he'd been there multiple times already. And they felt like he was a security risk and dangerous. And they even had him voluntarily or involuntarily committed to a mental institution. Does that make sense to you all? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. What do you all have to say? Mr. Midnight said there won't be deals. There won't be a deal. It's all a lie. Okay, you're talking about the Iran deal. Trump said there's one coming soon, unless he's trying to manipulate the markets, as per usual, in my opinion. That's right. Somebody said something isn't adding up about this. Exactly my point. Okay. Exactly my point. DJ Big Six said, nope, doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah, I don't think it makes sense either. And you already know what I think when something doesn't make sense. It's usually a what? Okay. Now, with that being said, let's go to this next clip where Trump is talking about there's going to be a deal soon. Because supposedly, I've seen some reports that say that Trump said the deal had already been, put together, but basically they just had not finalized everything as of yet. That's what I saw in one report. Okay, so let's go to this clip from WHAS. Just Anticipate said it was Psyop Saturday. I think it was too, beloved. I absolutely agree.
President Trump confidently declaring a peace deal with Iran will be announced shortly. Trump saying the agreement has been largely negotiated and remains subject to finalization by all parties. The president vows the deal will open the Strait of Hormuz. Trump made the announcement after a call with Gulf leaders and officials from Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and a separate call with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu.
There's been some progress done, some progress made.
Iran's foreign ministry saying the two sides are in the final stages of drafting a framework that would give 30 to 60 days to hash out a broader agreement.
They want to settle so badly. We have the greatest military.
What's unclear is if this agreement includes a deal on uranium enrichment, missiles, or nuclear dust. It's been 2 months since Trump vowed to obliterate Iran's power plants within 48 hours if Iran didn't fully open the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is still closed and the cost is hitting home with gas prices soaring. But Trump insists that pain will be short-lived.
By the way, the oil prices are going to tumble as soon as I finish up with Iran.
But it's not just gas at the pump. Food and airfare are also surging because of the war. Some Americans forced to pull back plans for the big travel weekend.
I know a lot of individuals who are suffering tremendously under increases in pricing for food, for gas, for everything.
Well, and there are some serious concerns over an Iran deal from Israel. A source familiar with the situation tells ABC News that there are serious concerns and disappointment because Israel says it signals to Iran they can use the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
All hell has broken loose as Donald Trump's top Republican allies in the
Okay, so now with that all being said, funny that he popped up because I'm about to show a couple of clips of his. Okay, but before I do, let's go to this commencement address. Hold on. Here we go. Greta said we need age and term limits. Yeah, of course, they do have them, but he's just able to meet the criteria.
3 seconds straight today, Donald Trump said a bunch of random words and hoped it made sense during his commencement address at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. If this was Joe Biden, Republicans would be freaking out. Take a look.
Going to happen, change that we can't even think of right now. The things will happen, and I believe for the best, hopefully for the best, but I believe for the best. But things will happen that you can't even imagine, and it's going to be very exciting. But the way that's going to happen is through thinking big. Nothing great was ever built. Think of that. Nothing great was ever built without the word momentum at your side. In times of your life, you'll have momentum. That's the time you go for it.
I would love for MAGA to give us a summary of what he just said. What point was he trying to make? Because it sounds like a whole lot of gibberish to me. He was just putting random words together and he called it a commencement speech. That made no sense. That was incomprehensible. And if this was Joe Biden, as I said, Fox News would be playing this clip 24/7 for a week.
They're not going to say anything since it's Trump. Exactly. I absolutely agree. Now, let's go to this because do I remember the other day there was a video with Trump talking, and I'm pretty sure I showed it to you all. Maybe I didn't, but I definitely watched it myself. But in the video clip, there was a man who had a big stomach, and people were making videos about him on TikTok saying that he looked like he was about 6 months pregnant. And he had this huge belly button. Well, do you know that they made that they actually did a news report about this and then contacted the man's family, I guess, to ask about his big belly and his huge navel? But that is so ridiculous and petty. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're on the brink of running out of gas. Okay? Groceries are at an all-time high. Now, listen to this.
To eclipse President Trump in the Oval Office, but this guy's belly button did just that. He was there to tout his local supermarket chain, but as Stephen Fabian reports, instead, everyone was focused on his Audi.
We have tremendous people behind me.
It's a major press conference in the Oval Office. President Trump announcing he's rolling back regulations on supermarket refrigerators. But all anyone's talking about is that bulging belly button right over the president's shoulder.
All these crotches and belly buttons around the president. Like, why? You guys, why? Stop!
Conservative commentator Meghan McCain posted, "Can the advanced people not put some random man's belly button next to our president's head?" So, who's the dude with the protruding belly button?
Ron Graff Sr. Right here. Right behind me. Hello, Ron.
His name is Ron Graff Sr. He's the co-owner of a chain of supermarkets in Ohio. We reached out to the Graff family, and his granddaughter told us he has a hernia, which causes that bulge in his belly button. And while it may look like a concerning medical condition, New York surgeon Dr. Mark Reiner says it's not. It's an umbilical hernia, also known as an Audi belly button.
So many people have them. You see it all the time. Usually we don't fix them unless they're symptomatic, which means pain or discomfort. It's not dangerous in the least bit to this gentleman.
Just a little distracting when you're standing right next to the president.
The man's family tells us being in the Oval Office with the president was, quote, the honor of a lifetime. It's hard to eclipse.
Now they know they are wrong for that. Hold on. Mr. Midnight said a beach ball in his shirt. Ashkan said, let that man be. Exactly. Okay, exactly, beloved. That's what I say. Now, I thought that was very petty and uncalled for. Okay, don't we have bigger fish to fry, no less? And the fact now, when I saw people on TikTok making videos about it, that's one thing. I'm not going to make a video about that because what? It's nothing important. But the bottom line is, when I saw people on TikTok making videos about it, that was one thing. But to literally see news channels reporting on it, then reaching out to the man's family, I mean, that's all crazy. At the end of the day, I already knew it was a hernia, okay? Because I've seen a baby with one like years ago. But they had to do all of that because that poor little old man's belly. That man's probably so embarrassed. I mean, and who wouldn't be, okay? Then they had to show a close-up. This is all terrible. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip, which is from, I don't know who this guy is, but he says this is getting interesting. Now, I haven't seen his video, but let's see what he's talking about here. Then we're going to go to Midas Touch. This is all crazy. Laverne said this has become comedic.
People are going to disagree with me on this one, but hey, I'm here to make money, not to make friends. Donald Trump is literally about to put another lottery ticket in everybody's lap. But some of y'all won't take the lottery ticket because you hate Trump so much. But this got nothing to do with politics, red, blue, green. I don't care what it is. Take a look at what's going on. Donald Trump just put money into 4 quantum stocks. The last time that he did something like this, Intel went up 300% when he told everybody to buy it. Here's the part they're not showing you. Donald Trump Jr.'s investment went up 1,600% in one single year, making him $3.5 billion. So what are those 4 stocks and what's the one that you really should be paying attention to? I'm paying attention to them because
That all sounds like a whole lot of insider trading, like I've been speculating for a while, but let's let him continue.
I grew multiple $500,000 accounts and I'm looking to do it again. Here are the 4 stocks. I'm not going to read it to you. You pause, read it to yourself. IBM is 1, Global Foundries is 2, D-Wave Quantum is 3, and Rigetti is 4. In this world, when you give people options like 1 through 4, they don't know what to pick. So other people are going and buying this, the Quantum ETF, which is a basket of many of these quantum stocks that people are buying instead of just picking one. If you want to learn to trade from me at 8-Figure Trader, comment, join, and I'll send you the link. And make sure you're following the right people on the internet. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but hey, I'm here to make money, not to.
Sir, please sit down somewhere. What do y'all think about this? Okay, I find it also interesting. But let's continue. Now let's go to Midas Touch and see what they have to say about what Trump has going on here. Trump loses it as war threatens his life. Okay, let's get into it. Greta said illegal trading.
Suka.
That right there is the sound of a Shahid drone that keeps Donald Trump up at night. Donald Trump is fearing for his life as Iran is threatening him. And Iran is simply saying, if you invade, if you go after us, we will unleash hell and fury upon you and upon you directly. And you should be worried. Don't think that you're just going to get away with it and stay safe. Are you afraid, Donald? Are you too afraid to show up to your own son's wedding? You have Iran's parliament leader, MB Ghalibaf, through his key advisor, mocking Donald Trump for being too scared to even show up to his own son's wedding. And MB Ghalibaf, Iran parliament leader's key advisor, is saying the following: if Donald Trump and Israel execute its plan to target Iranian energy facilities, the retaliation promised by Tehran commanders will be activated. The Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandab Strait will be closed by fire. Submarine cables will be disabled, and regional bases and energy infrastructure, including Ben Gurion Airport and any and all bases that facilitated the attack, will be rained down upon with hundreds of missiles daily. America and Israel are playing, quote, Russian roulette, and the outcome will be the collapse of the global economy, alongside unprecedented gas prices in America and a radical shift in the map of power across the Middle East. And Ghalibaf's advisor is using the term Russian roulette very intentionally, because this week Russia did nuclear drills in Belarus to scare Donald Trump and to intimidate Donald Trump, that if you go after Iran, if you try to engage in further escalation, there could be nuclear retaliation. And this is getting into Donald Trump's head. Donald Trump, the last 48 hours, has now just been repeating over and over again that his golden ballroom is a shield against drones. He's worried that Iran is going to attack him with their drones, the Shahid drone I showed you at the beginning, with their ballistic missiles. I mean, all day yesterday, he was posting things like this: golden dome for the White House. And it's this like AI image of a golden dome surrounding the White House. And he's been saying over and over again now, look, the ballroom, it's going to protect me from the drones, man. It's these Iranian drones are going to get me, and I need the ballroom to stop the drones and their missiles. It's a military thing is what I need. So now he's saying that, you know, when you think about this golden ballroom, it was all about the hospital underneath and a dome to block Iranian drones is what he's scared about. This is what he said on the tarmac. Here, play this clip.
Suka. I find it all so interesting. Please pay attention. What has Trump gotten us all into? Global collapse is absolutely coming soon. Okay, now someone had a comment I wanted to put up here. Toya C said, you follow the Bible, Trump is blowing the horn. Yeah, I said that back in 2020, beloved. I said that back in 2020, and I've said it since then, but that was the first time I said it. I said when they talk about the trumpets in the Bible, that's Trump. Okay? That's Trump. And remember, what was his vice president back then? Pence. Think about it. Trump, Pence. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. I mean, I've actually done a whole video on that, showing all of the ways that it all makes sense that Trump would be the Antichrist, in my opinion. Now, here is another one. He says, let me make sure. Yeah, so here's another one with Midas Touch, where they say Trump's Iran deal collapsed in 12 hours. This is all so crazy. Trump is just, like I told you all many times, and I still believe it, that Trump is doing all of this by design, okay? Dismantling the country from the inside out.
Psychotic lunatic, a lunatic who needs to be in a straitjacket and removed from the White House and impeached immediately. This purported deal with Iran that was announced yesterday is completely falling apart under the deal. The United States was going to give Iran about $25 or $26 billion. Iran keeps control of the Strait of Hormuz. Nuclear negotiations would be deferred into a later time, and the war would be over. Ships would be able to exit the Strait of Hormuz. Additional details I, of course, described this morning. Donald Trump then got a call from Netanyahu, as well as the war hawks within the Republican Party. And now Donald Trump seems to be changing his tune, that the deal is not done yet, and he wants to take his time on this deal. And all of the terms that were being discussed yesterday with all of these Middle East nations on this conference call, Donald Trump seems to be backtracking on. He seems to be caving on the caving of the caving of the caving. And then he called up ABC and he's like, I can't talk about the deal. I can't talk about it. It's totally up to me. And if there's any news, it will only be good news. I don't make bad deals, but it's only up to me. How about it's up to the American people also? How about there's something called a Congress? And how about there's something called the Constitution? And how about you don't have this authority? And this is why our founders restricted this type of authority. So then you had Netanyahu posting images like this. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And then he announced his phone call to Donald Trump. And then shortly after, Donald Trump seems to be changing his tune about whether there's a deal with Iran. This is what Netanyahu posted this morning. I spoke last night with Donald Trump about this memorandum of understanding to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Trump and I agreed any final agreement with Iran must eliminate the nuclear danger. That means dismantling Iran's nuclear enrichment sites and removing its enriched nuclear material from its territory. Trump also reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself against threats on every front, including Lebanon. The partnership between us and our two countries has been proven on the battlefield and has never been stronger. Then Donald Trump started posting all of these deranged memes again right after that call with Netanyahu. I don't know, is he trying to impress him? He posts the memes of American drones, many of which were shot down by Iran, destroying, in this meme, Iranian Navy ships. You see drone saying adios. He's doing these posts again. He posts these bizarre images of him and Xi Jinping that say President Xi and President Trump are amazing. This is what Donald Trump is posting. He puts it in quotes. He's quoting himself as saying President Xi and President Trump are amazing. President Trump gets younger. President Xi and President Trump are amazing. That's what Donald Trump is writing himself. That is utterly deranged. This is a psychotic lunatic. Okay, I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. A lunatic who needs to be in a straitjacket and removed from the White House and impeached immediately.
He said, what a pathetic individual. I have to agree. Willoughby Israel said, there are many antichrists. Yes, I've said that myself. Absolutely. It's a spirit. Okay, it is a spirit that someone takes on. And I believe that Trump has it. I believe that Elon has it. Okay. Definitely Satan Yahoo, in my opinion, has it. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about something that's tricky. You all know that I was just sitting here just days ago bragging. Wasn't it just about 2 days ago? I was literally sitting here bragging about little Miss Crockett, whom I've always liked. I haven't always liked the things that she does or said. I haven't always agreed with her stance on certain things. I want y'all to pay attention. And that I was specifically giving her props because the other day, if you remember, she said something about our reparations and how they want to give money to the thugs that went to the White House. Same thing I said, right? But honey, let me just tell you, right now she is getting dragged by her weave by people who look like me all up and through TikTok. And I was shocked to see this last night. But let me just pull it up. And I said, now let me go fact check this and make sure little Miss Crockett isn't getting lied on. Because the first thing I did after I saw people saying that, I went to see if she had responded, and she did. And I'm going to show you the post that she made in response. But Lord, little Miss Crockett, it looks like you're lying. because I fact checked it, and the facts say the same thing that the people are saying. Let's get into it. You can't trust these politicians at all. And that's what I keep telling you. You can't trust any of them at all. Let's get into it.
Jasmine Crockett is supporting the pro-Israel candidate over Cori Bush in St. Louis. Wesley Bell, who had $4 million, or I think maybe even $8 million, it was a lot of money spent for him to unseat Cori Bush because she simply said Israel does not have a right to mass murder children, and this woman said that they do. And, Maya Angelou told us, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And unfortunately, too many of my black folks completely ignored that, because why are y'all letting them turn our black ass community into a shield for corruption and genocide? It is not anti-black to say that this is a baby bomber and this is a baby bomber. It is not anti-black to say that these two belong in jail for killing kids. It's that serious, black folks. Y'all got to stop fucking playing. Y'all making us look crazy. Black people literally voted against Chris Rabb in that primary. Thank God he won. Pro-Palestine, but Medicare for all. Neither of these are. She claims to be, but she's with the people who are not, unlike Cori Bush. She's Medicare for all, want to take the money that we're spending on Israel and spend it on our people, and y'all are right wing. Just go vote for Republicans if that's what y'all want. This is what policies this man has. So if you want Republicans, go vote for them. If you want actual change, vote for Cori Bush. Breaking news.
So Jasmine, really? Now, mind you, like I said, I ran right to see what she posted, if she responds to the video or if she responded to the video. Here's what she said. She did respond. Let's look at it. She absolutely responded. Hold on, did somebody say? Hold on, did somebody say she's going to have to get added? Miss Crockett too worried about her wig collection, honey. Okay, I thought it said something else, because what I was going to say is now we're going to have to add her to the collection of wigs. Trump's number 5. She's going to have to be number 6 at this point. Okay, she's going to have to be number 6. Now, here's what she said. Maybe research how I was when Cori introduced me at the NAACP. And I'm going to say it just like how she said.Maybe research how I was when Cori introduced me at the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner in St. Louis when she was a sitting member in June of 2024 and being challenged by Bell. Maybe see how I was when I was in Rashida Tlaib's district in 24. Maybe y'all's nosy asses would like to know that neither candidate has solicited my endorsement and the forms are open on the firepack.com. Little Miss Crockett, your little old lying self. Your little old lying self, okay? Well, no, I can't even say she lied. Because when you think about it, she technically didn't deny it. She just said research how she was with Cori. Okay, but guess what? She basically has endorsed this person. Let me just pull up the receipts. She basically endorsed this man, Wesley Bell. That's his name. Yes, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett endorsed Congressman Wesley Bell and traveled to St. Louis to headline a major fundraiser for his campaign. You can watch coverage of her appearance in defense of his campaign on a YouTube video. Well, let's go to the video footage, honey. Here it is right here. Jasmine Crockett defends Wesley Bell amid Democratic infighting in Missouri. Oh, really? This was yesterday that this was reported. I guess that's why that guy said it was breaking news. Let's go to the clip. Laverne says, do you still do consultations? Just asking off topic. Much love and respectfully. I do sometimes, beloved. Okay, if you need one, just email me and let me know. Thank you for your insight into the topic. Well, not your insight, but thank you for your question and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. This is all a hot mess. Let's check this out. Did somebody say something about clapping cheeks? Hold on. Are y'all implying that Jasmine might be dating this man or something? Oh, you said, to be honest, you'd clap her cheeks, but I'd never vote for her. Too stupid and too loud for me. But Lieutenant Muxwell, you were just telling me to curse at you yesterday. I thought that's what you liked, ghetto-fied stuff. But let me continue. Okay, let me continue. Because you did ask me to curse you out yesterday.
Finding herself in the middle of a Democratic Party fight, and she's not backing down. MICDS alum Jasmine Crockett traveling to St. Louis this last week to headline a fundraiser for Congressman Wesley Bell. He's defending his seat against primary challenger Cori Bush. Crockett warned that what happens in this race has consequences well beyond Missouri.
This is not about somebody just goes up there and pushes button. This is someone who is actually engaged in making sure that he gets it right for all of you. Again, I am very vested in who it is that represents this district. There is no one better for this moment for Missouri 1 to keep his eye on the prize, which is you, the people, than Wesley Bell.
The backlash was quick and ugly. Several Bush supporters attacked Crockett and Bell online, some with racial slurs. One called her an elitist and described her remarks as triggering. Crockett fired back, calling her critics, quote, paid losers, urging Democrats to redirect their anger toward Republicans. She also noted her political organization has not yet made a formal endorsement in this race, but her broader point was Democrats turning on each other might be why they lost Congress. That argument landed the same week a DNC post-election report concluded the party lost in 24 by focusing too much on identity and not enough on the economy. Meanwhile, Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt is pressing the Justice Department to investigate what he calls racially gerrymandered congressional maps. Schmitt arguing Democrats use the Voting Rights Act as a political tool. The convergence of all that in 1 week in one congressional district tells us something about where the Democratic Party is right now.
You know, that is some real BS for her to do that. Now she's saying that she hasn't officially endorsed him. I'm sorry. What was that? Sounds like an endorsement to me. Okay, whether you want to say it's confirmed or official or not. But here's the thing. Now, do you all know why Cori Bush lost her seat last time? You all know why she lost her seat last time? I'm so glad you asked. Let me just pull it up. I already know how she lost it, but I just want you all to see for yourselves. And this is why that's some real bullish what Jasmine Crockett did. Okay, that's why I was hoping that it wasn't true. I was hoping that people had the wrong information, that they got it mixed up, they misheard or misunderstood, or just got wrong information. Because this is what I do know. The same thing that happened to Thomas Massey just days ago in Kentucky is the same thing that happened to Cori Bush. You see, the reason she lost her seat, her Democratic primary, Cori Bush lost her Democratic primary in Missouri's 1st congressional district in 2024 to Wesley Bell. Most analysts point to a combination of factors rather than just one, but the biggest factor was the enormous amount of outside money spent against her. Pro-Is Not Real groups connected to American Is Not Real Public Affairs Committee, which is AIPAC, okay, and its affiliate Super PAC spent millions backing Bell after Bush became one of Congress's strongest critics of Is Not Real's war in Gaza. Estimates range from about $9 million to over $15 million in outside spending. They spent $16 for Massey. Don't get rid of him, making it one of the most expensive House primaries ever. Okay? See, this is what happens. This is what happens. Okay, please pay attention. At the end of the day, now there were other issues, but that was the main reason. And I really think it's some bullcrap that these people get to spend money and basically buy elections. Because isn't that what it sounds like? Isn't that what it sounds like? You all let me know. Once in the chat. Songwriter Sonny said that's not fair. It isn't fair. Don't you all feel like that's bribery? That's buying the election? How can we have a democracy, but at the same time, we're letting outside influencers pay money to get the people that they want in there, into our governments, to work at the behest of them, not us. Okay? This is some real bullish. Please pay attention. Miss Jasmine Crockett, you can sit your little ass down somewhere, okay? That's what you can do. That was some real bullshit. Then you're going to talk all that trash in a little post. Maybe see why and what I did with Cori Bush and get y'all nosy asses and all that, talking real slick, and wasn't saying anything, as far as I'm concerned. All interested, but hold on. Let me go to the next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's hear what he has to say. Just a darn shame.
In 2024, AIPAC targeted at least 2 Democratic members of the House of Representatives during primary season for their reelection that year, and decided they wanted to get rid of those 2 members of the House of Representatives. One was Jamal Brown from New York. AIPAC spent more than $17 million to get him bounced out of the House of Representatives, and outside groups spent $18.2 million to get Cori Bush bounced out of the House of Representatives. She, I think, is from Missouri. And in Cori Bush's race, AIPAC spending and related pro-Israel groups topped over $10 million to get her out of the House. Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush had both spoken critically of Israel, and AIPAC wanted them gone, and spent a combined $30 million over those 2 races to get both of those members unseated from the House of Representatives. Cori Bush is running to be elected again, even though she lost last time. And the man who beat her last time with all of that AIPAC spending is a man named Wesley Bell. Cori Bush is a Black woman. Jamal Bowman is a Black man. And today, Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett officially endorsed Wesley Bell over former Representative Cori Bush. She gave a speech at an event today and said that Wesley Bell is the #1 person to look after the concerns of the constituents of Missouri's first.
And I want you all to pay attention, because I follow this man and he has a lot of good talking points. I like his commentary and everything. This man looks so disappointed. Okay, look at the look on his face and the way he's speaking. He's looking just like I was looking last night. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Okay, I mean, the shock of it all.
Congressional district. AIPAC spent over $10 million to get Wesley Bell elected in 2024 because Cori Bush, who was in that seat at that time, was critical of Israel's conduct in the Gaza Strip. And today, Jasmine Crockett endorsed Wesley Bell, the man who AIPAC installed in the seat that had previously been occupied by Cori Bush.
Now I want you to pay attention to something. I know he wanted to say more than that, but he was choosing his words carefully because Jasmine Crockett is Black. Okay, and he's not one of those devout racists like some of these devils. But at the end of the day, I could tell he wanted to say more. Okay, this is a darn shame, honey. I'm telling you. This is so annoying. This is so annoying. Like, they really are in control of everything, it looks like, as far as our government's concerned, at least. Okay, that's my opinion. Now, with that all being said, we're about to conclude the broadcast shortly. I have a couple of more things to show you all. What I want to show you all is this. They seem to think that there is a possible serial killer. Okay? And who I saw in this video was my professor. Okay, Professor Cheryl McCullough. All right, remember I showed you all before, she was my criminal justice professor. But man convicted of killing 2 women may have committed more murders. Let's get into it. Okay, Captain Mac, that's what we called her. So let's get into it. A serial killer, honey. I'm gonna have to dig deep into this.
Searching for clues in the case of a possible serial killer.
I've always just had a feeling that there's more victims out there. And police believe a man convicted of killing 2 women in Henry County may have committed even more murders. And only Channel 2 Action News was there as a team of investigators and dogs looked for fresh clues.
Now, mind you, Henry County is in Georgia. Okay, so a serial killer in Georgia? Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing a whole lot of research on this, but let's continue.
Let's go. In the woods behind a shopping center in Stockbridge, Indy sniffs for clues. This is the same area where investigators found the bodies of 2 missing women in 2021.
As I'm searching these areas, I am in essence walking in the shoes of the killer.
Dramatic body camera video shows a DeKalb County detective take down Dennis Lane. Police were working to find missing 23-year-old Mersha Victor, and Lane was the last person to call her phone, which led police right to his front door. In 2022, Lane pleaded guilty to murdering Victor, then having sex with her dead body before disposing of it. He's also admitted to killing 19-year-old Kantisha McCoy.
I've always just had a...
Let me tell you all something. Now, y'all may think I'm lying, but as God is my witness, I want y'all to pay attention to something. Do you all remember, put a 1 in the chat, put a 1 in the chat. Do you all remember that I told you all that time, me and my best friend, her sister and I went to the grocery store? And this man was following us around the store. And I told her, I said, girl, that man's following us. And she's like, no, he's not. And I said, girl, he's going down every aisle we go down and he's not picking up anything. He's clearly not shopping. He's following us. And she said, no, he isn't. She said, you're just always paranoid. And I said, no, I'm just always observing. I said, okay, let's do this. Let's go down the aisle where they have like the cat and dog food, which that aisle is usually empty. So let's just go down that aisle and see if he follows us there. We went down that aisle and there he was. So you all are putting in ones you remember. That's what that man looked like. I remember that man was about 5'11", or maybe he was probably between 5'10" to 6 feet tall. But that looks just like him. I promise you, I got to show this to Mel. That's her name, the girl that was with me. So she can see if that looks like him to her. Because I promise you, it's been years ago now. It's been years ago. But that's who he looked like. Here's the thing. So remember, I told her, let's go down this aisle. And he comes down that aisle too. Okay, then she even knew, okay, he's probably following us. So we get to the line to check out. He gets in the U-Scan line and all he's got is like 1 canned good. Now, mind you, we've been at the store for at least 20 minutes, okay? And we had quite a few things because we already knew what we wanted. We had a list and we quickly got what we wanted. We were going to have a fish fry. Long story short, as soon as we got in line, he got in line. And I saw him looking at us and I told her, I said, girl, I said, I'm going to tell you right now, when we get outside, if that man tries to follow us to the car, I'm going to cause such a scene to get everybody's attention. As soon as we walk outside, he actually walked outside before we did, because he only had the 1 canned good item, which he didn't even purchase, mind you. He sat it on the U-Scan line or the U-Scan thing and walked out. So when we came out after paying for the groceries, he was standing out there on the, like as you go right out the double doors. So when we started walking to the car, I looked back and here he comes walking up behind us really quickly, like a brisk walk. I stopped dead in my tracks and I turned around. I said, you MF, if you don't get the F away from us before I call the police, I know you've been following us. And he was like, where's my car? Where's my car? Acting like he was looking for his damn car. Okay, do y'all remember that, right? And I absolutely think that's him. Okay, please pay attention. This is all crazy. This is all crazy, but let's continue.
Feeling that there's more victims out there.
And Henry, say this too, and this is another thing I told her that day. It was at night actually, but what I told her, because we were buying stuff for the cookout for the next day or the fish fry. But what I told her was, I said, I think that man's a serial killer. And she was like, girl, that's so crazy. But I told her the reason I thought that is because why the hell was he following both of us? It's 2 of us. It's not one person. If somebody's going to rob you or do something or even try to abduct you, they're usually going to do it when it's one person. Only serial killers or someone kidnapping someone for ransom, but usually only serial killers are the ones who will try to abduct more than one person, at least 2, like Ted Bundy, okay? And with that all being said, I said, if that was the case, he's likely done it before. And she just thought I was just overreaching. I'm going to have to see if I can get in touch with my professor who's working on this, my former professor. Okay, let's continue.
County Police Sergeant Nick Roberts worked the
case. The lady in the sunglasses with the dark hair, That's my professor. I've shown you all her before because there was another story that I was covering, and she was also on there.
And it continues to haunt him.
When we found the additional ID in his closet in his bedroom and other photographs, we figured there's probably other girls out there.
Robert says Lane also posted about his crimes on social media.
He has an Instagram account that has photos that were kind of inappropriate.
In this case, we're going to theorize that if he obviously used this area as a dumping ground, are there more than 2 victims in this area? All right.
Tracy Sargent is a forensic investigator who's worked on missing person and body recovery cases. She joined us at the crime scene where the bodies of Lane's victims were found burned and buried to look for more answers.
Typically, these killers, like we know, groom these victims. They're very trustworthy. He gains their trust.
Shomack McCullum is a metro area crime scene investigator who's been helping Roberts in his search for answers. She says it's common for serial killers to keep mementos from their victims.
Whether it's a necklace or a driver's license or underwear.
Now, that's her right there, okay? And if you remember, I told you all that she also worked with the Fulton County law enforcement. I don't know if she's still at law working with Fulton County per se, but that's who she was working with at the time when she was also our professor. And like I said, you all have seen her before because I've shown her on different stuff that she's been on. But I find this all interesting. Now I want to hear what she has to say about all of this. This is all crazy.
And in this case, we know we have underwear. He kept it on the bedpost. We know we have a driver's license. He had a list of victims' names, like sheets of names.
Investigators say some of those names could be those of missing women from Macon, Georgia, where he dumped one victim's car, and Chicago, Illinois, where Lane used to live.
I believe absolutely there's more victims.
While no clues were found when we went out with investigators, their search will continue to hopefully bring closure to families of more missing women.
They don't have answers. They need answers.
And Robert says his case still keeps him up at night. He wants the FBI to investigate it. Once again, Lane is in prison right now, serving time. He pleaded guilty to those other 2 murders.
And thinking about the families who could be out there at this point.
That is where this investigation needs to go.
Let's go ahead and get some more details now about cold cases in Georgia. In 2023, the state had more than 11,000 unsolved cases. And when a case is considered cold, it means it's been unsolved for more than 3 years. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation keeps an updated list of all unsolved homicides in the state. You can find it on their website.
This is all crazy. And listen, I told you all also, if you remember, that we worked on some cold cases with her when we were in college. One of them was the Atlanta child murders. Okay, we worked on that. And also Chandra Levy. Remember I told you all we had a lot of information, okay, with the Chandra Levy case that we turned into the police. And come to find out, the man that actually did it was already arrested. But we came up with that information. They're not going to give students any credit, mind you. Okay, but anyway, that's all crazy. Okay, so now let's talk about this before we head out of here. This is something else that's going on in Georgia. So they basically say the FBI has launched massive lockdowns. Hold on. FBI launches massive lockdown sweep before the World Cup. So what they're doing is they're going out and arresting violent criminals here in Georgia. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. And this is the last report for today. Then I'm out of here. Candace M said, this city used to be so beautiful. Now with the new buildings and influx of people, crime is increasing quickly. You know when crime really started to increase, beloved? At least in the metro area is when after Hurricane Katrina. After Hurricane Katrina, when the guys from Louisiana came and they started beefing with the Atlanta guys who were selling illegal substances and all of that, that's when crime really increased to me, from my recollection.
Working with Atlanta police to track down violent offenders. They're calling it Operation Lockdown. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live for us in Atlanta with more. Denise, there's a specific reason they're doing this now.
That's right. The timing of this is in line with the World Cup. More than a dozen violent criminals have already been arrested, and they hope to have many more off the streets before visitors from around the world arrive.
Operation Lockdown is to find and remove from the streets the most violent offenders in the city of Atlanta.
The FBI is teaming up with the Atlanta Police Department, combining their resources to track down some of the city's most violent felons.
And our Violent Crimes Task Force assists the Atlanta Police Department in identifying the locations, executing warrants, doing surveillance, and all the investigative techniques that we have at the FBI.
Operation Lockdown started in March, with the FBI and APD working together to round up dangerous criminals before visitors from around the world are in town for the FIFA World Cup.
We're going to continue to pursue the most violent offenders in the city of Atlanta for the next month prior to the big events of the summer, including stuff like FIFA.
Investigators initially identified 37 dangerous felons. 13 have been captured. Among them, Kenneth Jones, who was wanted for a shooting on I-285 in December that killed a pregnant teenager's unborn child. He is charged with feticide and 3 counts of aggravated assault. As agents closed in, Jones hid inside an apartment with 2 children. He was eventually taken into custody. No one was hurt. And 34-year-old Aldemetrius Brown, wanted for a deadly shooting in Northwest Atlanta last August. Brown barricaded himself in an attic for several hours before giving up. The FBI says although the initial goal was 37 offenders, more will likely be added to the list.
It's not going to be 37 and done. We're going to continue to work with APD and continue to foster that relationship to relentlessly pursue the violent criminals here in Atlanta.
The FBI works with local law enforcement on operations throughout the year. Right now, with the World Cup on the horizon, this one is front and center.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention because Lurk Squad just made a very good point. Okay, saying that not because crime is bad, but because of sports game. Think about that. Okay, and that man who, all of those thugs, clearly that's what they were, those thugs. But specifically the one that shot a pregnant teenager and killed her baby, why were they not arrested already? Were they looking for him and couldn't find him? They must not have been looking too hard, but now they found them. I find it interesting. Now, someone said they thought it was going to be in California, the World Cup. Well, apparently it's going to be in several cities because, several states. Because I don't really know much about the World Cup because I don't go to that type of stuff or whatever. But it says Atlanta, Georgia, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Boston, the Gillette Stadium, Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium, Houston, the NRG Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, Arrowhead Stadium. So it does say Los Angeles, California at the SoFi Stadium. So Miami, New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Seattle. I guess it's going to be in multiple places, cities and states. And also it says Mexico and Canada. So anyway, honey, the nerve of them to be trying to clean up the streets for a sporting event. But don't worry about the citizens who live here. Okay, we have to fend for ourselves. The police no longer protect and serve. Okay, please pay attention. They'll protect property more so than they will people's lives. Okay, that's what they'll do. This is all so sick. Ooh, but Jasmine Crockett should be ashamed of herself, but I'm sure she isn't because she was cussing people out, talking about their nosy arses and all that. Wow, really? Anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Everyone, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And I will see you all in the morning for your morning wake-up call. All right? I love you all to life. Okay, and I hope you enjoy this day. Till next time, beloveds, peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and